of me when you hear love breakup songs? Do you think of me and wanna
Hey, how y'all doing? This
apologize?
is A Chill Kind of Love on Intellectual Radio. I am your host, your favorite godson, Keith, and or you can call me Mr. Chilton. And this over here,
We are your hosts.
yeah, I was gonna say my co-host, or the other host. She is a part of me, and we
we
are us.
are here.
So
How y'all doing? Michelle Chilton here.
the Mrs. Chilton
Yes.
on the mic.
Yes.
Um, so thank you all for tuning back in with us as we come back with you and celebrate our anniversary.
11
Do you
years.
know what today
What I tell you
is?
about singing on this mic?
You
I
know,
keep telling you, don't you get on this mic and start singing, and then you just gonna do what you do.
hey, thank you all again. It's 11 years, and it has
Yes.
been a very, I wouldn't say rough, smooth, kind of chill, a couple bumps, a little bit of bumps, but
Like any relationship.
yeah, like any relationship, but it's pretty smooth,
Now it is. I
Yeah.
do agree.
Cadillac.
Now it is. You
No,
started acting right.
whoa, hold hold on. Yeah, I don't everybody just pause that. Don't feed into that at all. I don't know where she just got that from. Um, but within that time frame, if we can reflect and kind of let everybody in on a little something. Last year, I would probably say we had the most happen. Almost maybe out of all 11 years, last year was probably the most trials.
Yes.
And,
Yeah.
yeah, I would think it would be last year, maybe last year.
Well, you know what? When we first had Kal-El, so when we first got married, we
Mm-hmm.
had a premature baby.
Yeah,
And
40 days and 40 nights
in the NICU.
in the
Yeah.
NICU.
That was a rough year. I think adjusting to marriage, a new baby, all of those
Living
things.
together.
Living together, yeah, I had never cohabitated with anyone but a
Mm.
male before. So like it just
I lost hair.
you lost a lot of hair.
Whoa, not a lot, not a
It
lot.
came back
It was
though.
it was at the
Look
top.
at you.
It was at the top. I lost a decent
And I
amount.
just put a little bit of spray in it today. That's it.
Yeah. So I try to stay away from those things. But yeah, I definitely lost a little bit of hair, and it took a little while to get back. And I
Right.
do remember those times.
Right.
Sick, all of that promotion.
But this year has been or this past year was a rough year.
Hmm.
It was probably our roughest year in a while, right? It's been a little
Yeah,
while since I think we've had a rough.
they say what is it? I forgot what I was gonna say about the smooth sailor and the rough seas, but calm seas never make a smooth sailor. You need rough seas for that. So
Yeah,
um,
yeah. Well,
it
let's
was
let's
pretty good.
let everybody in on a little bit of
Well,
it.
last year I had to do a surgery, minor surgery, umbilical hernia surgery, and anytime you have to go to the hospital, that anybody can kind of relate to this. Anytime you got to go to the hospital and you got to go under, and then you got to get under that knife to some degree or whatever, you start thinking about everything. Like, what if I don't come out of this? You start thinking about, like, even if this is so small, what if something goes wrong, if I'm impaired moving forward. And I can remember just kind of resting in it. There was that slight anxiety, but for the most part, I rested in it because I said, okay, we've come this far, we've done what we had to do. The foundation is laid. My wife is here, she got it. I'm not gonna worry. Family support, all that. So I went in smiling, and I think you snapped a photo
I
of me.
did. I got a picture of you smiling.
Yeah, I was just chilling. I'm
I
like,
think I said how you can go into surgery knowing your wife got you.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
you had a smile on your face.
Yep. So all praises to the Most High for that, because
Right.
really having that firm foundation of faith. I personally do not. I don't worry about much. I kind of
Right.
just. I'm kind of flowing with the wind here.
No, really. one of the things that you oftentimes would tell me when you saw that I was worrying was look at me, am I worrying? Then you have no
Yeah.
reason to worry. And honestly, in the 11 years, I've never seen you worry.
No, and if I
This,
do, it'd
yeah,
be when you can't see me
you sure
in
do.
the back somewhere,
You
like,
hide it.
oh my goodness. And then, I've kind of learned to what they say, calmness is mastery. I've learned
Yeah,
to really like face it, uh get the heart jumping, and then focus in, just relax and breathe
right,
out. So I don't think anyone that has been around me really has seen me sweat like that, or really has seen me like in a frenzy.
right,
So I
right,
try to make sure y'all won't see me do that, because that's between me and the Most High. So
right,
I'll definitely shake that off in front of everybody.
right. So we dealt with you going to surgery. My father passed, my bonus father passing on.
Yep, that was that
So that
right
was
after that. Or was that right after?
that was no,
It
that
was
was
right before. Yeah.
before your surgery. So then your surgery came, and mind you, I started working
Yeah,
um
you had been on the work beat and school.
full time, um part time to full time, and then yes, school full time too, online schooling, to finish pursuing my bachelor's in early childhood education.
Hmm.
Right. And so then balancing out that, right? Trying to get a hold of schedules and children and just work life, right? Because I believe that teachers' jobs never end. Um,
Neither do parents.
yeah, and
Uh,
parenting and
you got to take that with you at
yeah,
work too,
right,
and be a parent at work.
right. And then I ended up in surgery, and it was life threatening.
Yeah, so that I can remember when that happened. Um, and I remember getting that call from you, and you were leaving work, and you didn't know what was going on. And
Well,
you know,
let's say what it was though. Like,
no, I mean,
yeah,
it was a. I mean, the whole thing of what it was is we ended up having ectopic pregnancy
right,
with a ruptured fallopian tube,
right,
and because we found out we were 9 weeks pregnant. We found that out in the hospital. We had no clue what was going on.
right.
I'm thinking you were dehydrated from the call. It sounded like you were dehydrated, but I know sometimes you put 10 on 2, so I
10 on 2.
I gotta dial it back some with
Slow
you. No, I'm just
down.
saying you're a little extra, so I had to dial it back. Like,
You gotta watch that.
she may be okay. Just go lay down.
Right.
But
Well,
luckily
that
you
was
didn't.
my right. That was my first intuition. Go home, lay down, but I didn't. I midway home, I said, no, let me go to the urgent care. And I pulled into urgent care, and then things just progressed really
They got the
fast. It
moving.
was, yeah, an ambulance took me to the hospital, and that's where we found out that we were pregnant. Of course, we lost the baby, ectopic pregnancy, and surgery needed to
Yeah.
happen immediately.
Yeah,
So,
they moved in pretty quick.
right,
And I know how I look every time we're in the hospital between the children being born or something serious is going on. I do not play. I'm normally a jokester. I don't joke when I'm in the hospital. I already have a
right,
hard time trusting the medical industry. So I am on point when I'm in there. And a lot of times people, they don't want to ask me too many questions. They think, they look at my face and they like, uh,
yeah.
Mr. Chilton. And I said, what happened? And then I'm asking like
You are
direct
like that.
questions.
You're very much so direct. And no play. And when we go into, and you shouldn't be.
Yeah, I don't play about what's mine, and I definitely am ready to protect it. So
Right,
I'm on guard every time in the hospital. I feel like I am on guard. I don't even feel like I could chill, and
right,
I'm a chill kind of guy.
right.
So
So luckily or blessed, we were blessed that I came out fully recovered. However,
mhm,
those things, all of those things, I think a compilation of those things hit our marriage took a hit. Like,
Yeah.
the I guess the communication, the
I don't know about the communication more so
well,
because
we
we
talked,
talk
but
we talk pretty. We have a pretty good sense of correlating words with each other back and forth
okay.
and sending and receiving information. It seems like
Well,
that kind of happens. I would think what kind of took a hit was the dynamic. There was a shift there between coming out from that ectopic pregnancy, coming out from you kind of being nursed back to health. No different from when I had to be nursed back a little bit from my surgery.
right.
And
Well, when I first came out, I was on top of the world. I was like, wait a minute, I'm alive.
yeah, you were on a high.
I'm
You were
like,
just like,
yes, I'm alive. I got purpose. I got things to do. I was spared. I can raise my children. I can be
mm,
present. And that went on for some weeks, right? Where I was like, can't nothing stop me other than I was in the bed recovering
mm,
for 6 weeks. But I did. I felt extremely grateful just to be alive. But what I didn't anticipate was going through um well, we just lost the baby. So hormone
yeah,
levels being
that yeah, I don't
off.
think that hit right away.
Right.
We
It
were
didn't.
we were resting in your life and
Right.
moving forward with that.
And because we didn't know we were pregnant, we didn't even have a chance to even connect with that
Yeah,
baby yet. Right.
with that spirit. Yeah,
Right.
we were just it was so many feelings even in the hospital. It was puzzling. It was like, what? How we pregnant? Like I don't think like
Right. But I
how
don't
did that
even feel like
happen?
I had enough time to even consider that part of it. It was like I mean, I was bleeding from
Yeah,
the inside,
internal
internal
bleeding.
bleeding. Yeah.
And then they're
So
like, well, Miss Children,
we needed
we
blood
need
transfusion.
yeah,
We
he's like,
needed,
we need to go. What
yeah.
are you okay in this or what are we doing? I said, run it back to me, go back through. What are we about to do? And then I had to tell the guy, and I remember your mom ended up being there and we, with you in the room, and then it was time to go up and we walking away. And I remember telling one of the guys, say, you gonna be in there with her, right? I was like, because I can't. He was like, yeah. I was like, you, if she don't come out, I'm coming in for you.
Mm,
So that's why I had to tell him. And he looking at me like I was like, you.
you
And
just gonna threaten the whole
I was
world,
just
huh?
telling him. I said, it's so this on you, So,
Right.
but everything worked out. So
Everything did. But
and
the relationship
I
hit.
was sleepy. Hey, you ever been in a real anxiety, high impact situation? You start to with all the things you're thinking about, your nervous system's going crazy, and then it's like I started getting sleepy, and I was already going off for like only a few hours of sleep,
Right.
and I was at work, and then jumping to this, and it was like I need to take a nap. I remember just sitting there, kind of sitting back in the chair, my eyes closed. Your mom was there, and we're talking.
Shout out to our families for the
Yeah,
support.
yeah. My
mo-
mom ran
Kicking
up.
in to take care of the
Yeah, she
kids
grabbed the
and
kids, the car. Your mom came and she was on point in there for
yes.
support. So yeah, definitely family support is huge
Right.
on that. And
Right. But so no, I guess to get to the knit of it or the grit of it, it did. Our relationship it took a hit. Hormone levels were all over the place for me. And I don't even think I realized it because I'm still on this high,
spiritual high.
a spiritual high. But then when this starts to come down, I realized like, man, I had a baby in me.
Hmm.
I lost this baby. And man, I remember feeling like I kept saying, I don't want a baby. I don't want a baby. I don't want a baby. And while I was saying those words, I didn't know I was carrying a baby. So I remember that guilt hitting me of what kind of, I know words are powerful. What did I put out into the world um, or on this baby? And now my body can't even hold the baby. And my life was just about taken, all because I kept saying, I don't want this baby. I don't want this baby. So that hit me. Um, and I kept saying, well, I want what God wants for me. But I battle with that because kids, they're blessings. I'm grateful for our three.
Children are inheritance from the
Yeah,
Lord.
right. I'm grateful for our three. However, I know I want to I love my babies, but I want to do other things in life, and I know that babies slow things down for us, right?
Put a little
So
tightener on there.
it
Bit
does.
of a constraints.
Right. So after we got our girl, I'm like, no more babies, no more babies, right?
Yeah.
But then am I right in saying that versus I want what the Most High wants for me? And I felt responsible for what happened just by my words alone.
Well, you taking it to a real spiritual sense on that point. And because I was looking at, I'm in the hospital looking up like, how often do ectopic pregnancies happen? What is going on? Oh, it gets stuck in the embryo, stuck in the fallopian tubes. It didn't make it out. And I'm like, okay, this is just like an anomaly that happens.
It's not, but it happened to my mother. And when after it happened to me, I talked to other women, even at my job, it happened to them. So I don't think it's as abnormal as it's just we have never we never experienced it before.
Uh,
I've been able to carry three babies, right? Through. So it's just I don't know. I don't know. I still feel my words, I can't say I'm responsible for my words and your words are powerful and then give myself an excuse for saying what I said about this baby. I don't want this. I don't want a baby. I don't want a baby, right? So I do feel like even when things go wrong, I still got to take responsibility here. I shouldn't have put that out there. So I remember it was like this thing in my head like, okay, Michelle, no more I don't want. It needs to be more so aligned with I want what God wants for me and I need to pray to be okay with what God wants for me.
Yeah, that's real. We get very caught up in what we want. Flesh what wants what it wants, and all of that. And that reminds me of just that prayer I had that
Mhm.
a couple years back after baptism, and having that prayer. And I remember you was like, what you said, what? And just so for everyone to know, because I had prayed that the Most High, I want what the Most High wants for me. So if it's not from Him, take it away. And I was sitting there like, should I even repeat that? Because I didn't know what it could have been. I didn't know if it could have been you, if it could have been the job, if it could have been anything that I've created.
Right.
But I'm like, if it's not from you, take it away. And it
And
was like,
that was hard.
yeah,
Yeah.
just like, and I sit back and waiting to see like what is about to be stripped from me, and let it is what it is.
Right. And really believing and feeling like it is what it is, like wholeheartedly. So I still battle with that, right? Where I'm still like, oh my goodness, I don't want no more kids. But I know that I shouldn't be saying those words. So I that is still a battle for me.
Well,
And that
we plan it out. We ain't reckless, but I do get what
but
you're saying.
that goes into intimacy too, right? It goes into which was something that took another hit.
Yeah, you had I almost say post traumatic stress from that. It was kind of on your mental heavy, and this is when we have to remember the vows. You have to remember, I do sickness and in health, for richer, for poor. And I think a lot of people may skip over that just because, well, for richer in health,
Mhm.
no, for poor and in sickness. And those are things you have to embody what that's really like. If you've
Right.
ever if you've ever been with, married, for one, for anybody, and then two, you ever been with your person and had to be with them while they got better, or while they were
Mm.
down, and watching them be down, and you're trying to help nurse them together, and that may be just on a
But you
physical.
still have needs too while you are watching them go through what they're going through.
Yeah.
And then sometimes, I mean, speaking from my experience, I'm not one where sometimes I need to sit for a second. Like it has to, you know how you could just jump up, okay, accept it, right? It takes me a minute. I got to think and rethink a couple of times. So it's almost like even down as far as intimacy goes, yeah, I know my husband has needs, um, and he deserves those needs to be filled. But my goodness, I don't feel like it.
Yeah.
I don't have it in me. I don't have the mental capacity. And if I don't have the mental capacity, do you even really want it? Because it's not really
Genuine,
genuine
not
then,
authentic,
right?
genuine. Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like that was a heavy hitter for us.
Yeah, it sucked. But uh in relationships, again, embodying supporting your spouse, embodying for richer, for poor. And I
Well, let's
mean,
talk about that though. Because that's a very unselfish way of thinking. And I'm glad that I'm blessed to have married a man who thinks so unselfishly. Slow down. Okay. All
no, I'm
right.
just
No,
saying,
no.
I'm just saying, just straightening my suit. Uh,
um, However, what got you through that? Seriously, because you
well,
do have needs, right?
being able to have a group of men that I can bounce ideas off of and speak to and have little venting sessions, but then also being able to turn inward, being able to, stay with the word, stay in prayer, being able to, even when I look at you, it's my wife, regardless of how I'm feeling. It's my wife. Selflessness, and keeping a mindset that we're here to serve. Even
Right.
in the relationships, being down here on, period, we are here to serve. Having that, keep having that in my mind, that love is not based on conditions, it's unconditional, right? So that's when it was like, I love her regardless of what it is she is giving back to me at
But you
this
was
time.
mad sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, I
Oh,
mean, I'm still
I
human.
felt it.
Yeah, I'm still human, so I'm experiencing
Yes.
those emotions and trying to keep them under control, trying to have empathy for you. And then I went on the whole thing trying to get you whatever. What do you need? Like, let's make sure you
You did.
you
And
have
I'm like,
vitamins,
right. But
nutrition.
then I'm like, leave me alone for a minute. Because again, I'm one where I need a moment. I don't just you move so fast. You're able to like adjust very, very, very fast. And while I don't think it takes me too long to adjust, it takes me longer than you.
I'm
So
adaptable.
you're
I've
very
kind of
adaptable.
acquired that skill early in.
That's beautiful. But that's not a skill. Or no, I'm adaptable, but it takes me a second to adapt. It does.
The
But
be-
I did have these feelings of guilt about that. So then it's this anger, right? I'm angry at you for wanting it. I'm angry at me for not being able to provide, because ultimately that's really what it was. And I feel like sometimes it just comes out wrong, right? Or here we are, be responsible for how you say things and what you say, how you move. So I remember it would be points where I would try to do things with you, but honestly, I just wasn't present. I wasn't there. And you've always said, like, I don't even want it if you're not there. So trying to get my mind there. And I remember there was a shift, right? Where you had bought me these vitamins and I was like, okay, I'm gonna start taking these vitamins. Let me get me some iron,
Iron.
because
Shout out to iron.
I when
Shout out to
if you
iron.
Google the importance of iron in the body, that hits libido. It hits all kinds of things that you need to function from day to day, seriously. So
Yeah.
I was just cold often.
I remember,
And I remember
boy.
saying, like, I need more iron. And I remember the doctor telling me, keep taking that iron months after.
Your
But
mom had got you some.
mom got me some, and then you got me the vitamins you got me. And I think that ultimately really
boosted it a little
boosted
bit.
it.
But yeah, shout out to iron because we need these things every day, and then it's until something happens, then we're like, oh man, we need this. But we really magnesium, iron, detoxing from heavy metals, all of those things I needed every day.
Right.
And it's until something goes wrong, you're like, oh, I need to get back to it. I need to get healthy. And I do remember you being cold. I was like, she always cold. And I remember you falling asleep on the couch,
Oh, sleeping a lot, getting
sleeping a
just
lot after
tired.
work and things like that. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, man, and it's frustrating. And there was something that I think his name is martial artist Jason Wilson has said, you have to become the man the moment demands, and having that adaptability to,
Jason Wilson.
I think
He got a white beard.
yeah.
I just watched something with him on it today.
Yeah.
We be here, babe.
Yeah, so I think that's what it was.
He wrote a book. Did you order
It's
his book?
a couple, but I got all his
Okay.
books. And he was talking about that. But because I've acquired adaptability before, seeing you like that, on one end it is frustrating because I'm like, man, I'm getting up, I'm going to work early, I'm getting home late, I'm running businesses on the side after work. We got kids. I'm putting kids to bed, washing them up, this, that, and the third. So there's that dynamic when people talk about this in dating, like 50-50 or
And at
100
that
100.
point, it wasn't 50-50. You
Yeah.
were picking up a lot for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was like, what else you gonna do? I had to look
Yeah.
at it like, what am I gonna do? Just the household still got to run. The kids still need this and that,
Right.
and she needs sleep. And as much as it's a bit irritating
Well, I couldn't
because
help it. Like
you're right, you couldn't help it.
around 7 o'clock, it was almost like my body just shut down after working out. Granted, I'm up at like 5:36 in the morning, getting ready for work, and then I'm working with 20 kids in a classroom, so I'm highly active. But by the end of that day, despite the fact that kids, we have kids at home that are still awake, I feel like I did the best I could. So I would feed them and then pray that you get home soon because I just knew I couldn't stay up too much longer. I mean,
No, I remember that.
yeah,
And
and falling asleep on the couch trying to stay up with them or on the phone with you, like trying to stay on the phone with you just so I could stay awake.
or take your naps, and then, hey, wake me up at 10.
Please just wake me
Yeah.
up at 10 so
And then
we can have some time together because our time since I've been working, our time is limited, right? We
yeah, it's pretty much just right before bed after the day is done. Then it's like mommy and daddy can have
a little bit of
a little
time.
bit of their
And that
time,
depends on if Kara is asleep
or Kylan
or
ain't
Kylan.
running in.
Yeah, running in and out the room or wake up from a bad dream or whatever the
Yeah.
case may be.
And then,
Yeah.
or you didn't have homework at that
Yes.
time,
Yeah.
or I wasn't taking some late night call, or I'm trying to run some numbers for a client. It was like the plates were full. And I think one thing about us is we've had that over the years though, because you were running Girl Scouts. I
We've
had,
always done
yeah,
something
I have
extra.
martial arts and things like that. And we've always like had a bunch of things going on. Some things that people didn't know about. I can remember, talking on the non-for-profit on a charity committee and things like people don't know a lot of these things, but then some people would say like, man, y'all doing a lot, or at least when
Yeah.
they would like kind of talk and like, you kind of doing a lot, ain't you? And I can remember telling uh one of my employees, I met him out on the street, and I'm like, yeah, let me help you out, and I'm trying to help him out with some deliveries, and he's like, man, it's a long day. And I'm like, yeah, it is. But the day don't start till I leave. And he's like, what are you talking about? I was like, man, after I
We
leave,
still got
I
stuff
got
to do.
kids, I got clients, I got my
Right.
wife, there's house, I got something in the house that need to be fixed. I got this going on. I gotta, talk with this manufacturer or whatever.
Right.
I gotta get with my buddy, and then we talking about our business, and then we got uh another podcast. We trying to think what we're gonna set the framework for that. And he was like, how are you functioning? And I
Right.
was like,
Not to mention being present for our kids with their karate, with Kylan school and all the things that
his
were
and
going
making sure
on.
his behavior is
His
on point at
behavior is on point.
home,
Yeah. So,
and then loving your spouse.
oh my goodness.
Yeah, it definitely was a lot, and it needed
Yeah.
to be dialed back, uh, just dialed back a little bit. So some things have to get juggled, some things get dropped down to the side, but
How do we survive through that though, right? So from dad passing, your surgery, my surgery, full-time work, full-time school. This isn't even talking about your stuff, right? We got 3 kids at home. Mom went to surgery.
yeah,
And
my
we ain't even talk
mom
about
came.
that
Well, she
part.
came and lived with us, and that was another
Adjustment.
adjustment. Just seeing
Yeah.
how that would go, and then she had her surgery, not too long ago.
Right. So it was so much. So what do you do um to or how do we maintain? Because what I feel like one thing that we've never done was throw divorce around even through hard
Yeah, and,
times.
and it's never got to that point.
We don't throw divorce around. We don't go through those, I guess those divorce is tough to me. And one of those things my dad always told me, don't you ever threaten divorce unless you really mean it. And
I remember you gave me the ring one time. We was
and I
upset,
meant
and
it.
you took it off and put it
And
down,
I
and I
meant
was
every
like,
bit of it.
I said, she about to
He told me don't do it unless I meant it. And I meant it.
both hands.
Watch it.
Like what she? I mean, I
I don't
never put my
remember
hands
what
on you, but
happened at this point, but that was a very
that was
long
a
time
real
ago.
long time ago. You talking
Yeah.
about
When we first got
those?
married. But I do think like when we first got married, talk about like it gets easier after so many years.
Yeah, the growing pains, and you kind of get over
Yeah.
them. It would
Yeah.
almost be like that. The first to 3 years, rough patch. You have to learn how to cohabitate with each other. You have children, so parenting styles, they have to be cohesive, and then both still growing.
Right.
And then for women especially, when you all enter in motherhood,
Things
there is
shift.
a shift for you all,
Absolutely.
and somewhat of a pausing and a shift, and then later on a rekindling of your own fire.
Right.
And for men, we have to, even if you the most awesome dad like me, you're very present and there, you still have to have grace for your wife. You have to let her kind of figure out her motion, kind of like I did for you, and then we still have to kind of grow and guide it, ebb and flow.
Right.
You flow, I ebb it.
Right. So
Little hand motions.
we what keeps us grounded? What keeps us from throwing out the divorce word? What keeps us from dealing with infidelity problems?
Well, I
And
think that
because
probably
we don't deal with that. We yeah,
I
let's
think
dive
I think
into it.
part of that is both of us having that understanding that the marriage, and we don't want the divorce, for richer, for poor, for sickness and health, to
So
death do you part. Not when I'm upset, not when I'm sad, or not when you're sad, or one of us is happy, one of us is
so
not
you're saying
about.
it's a choice.
It's a choice every day.
Right.
and
I choose you.
and I choose you. I wish I had a pokeball in my hand. Give me a.
I do. I choose you. But also just the idea too though of I do choose you, but I choose to focus on me and being a better me. And in that, I think it flows over into our marriage, right? So I become better for me, but that also becomes better for you. You reap the benefits of it.
Right, yeah, you can't
So
can't have spite, and I think
I
that was
don't
we
focus
kept.
on what you do.
Yeah, I think we kept spite to a minimum. I won't say it was never there,
Right.
but that spitefulness spirit we definitely kept to a minimum. because it's not you versus me, it's me and you versus the world, and we have to navigate through everything that the world, the enemy, whatever you want to call it, kind of comes at the marriage. And I think that the other part of that too is having the understanding that we're both here to serve. Part of that, having that cohesiveness is understanding, uh, that is bigger than us. The kids, what they need to see it every day is
Right, but
they're relying on us.
what's
Also,
greater in the Most High's eyes than
yeah,
a,
then marriage,
a
having
marriage and a
yeah, having a
family?
husband and wife that
Yeah,
agree.
right.
And I think that was of course that was the foundation of it too, is having our knowledge, uh in the creator, that this process is ordained in a special type of way. And this is like such a beautiful thing that when we talk about, even in the business world, we talk about people or processes. Well, the marriage process is actually set up perfectly. Now, when we get the state involved and all that, now we're talking about something a little different. But from a spiritual standpoint, the process of marriage is set up perfectly. But people may be the problem. Not necessarily in the marriage, but the
Okay,
people.
so break it down.
Well, people either chose the wrong, you either chose the wrong person,
Okay.
or both people aren't working the process to its perfection. And
So, question. Oh, chose the wrong person, right?
yeah, they skipped all the red flags. They thought they was at
Well, if we
Six Flags Great America.
oftentimes choose reflectively, right? Our
Yeah,
partners are a
relationships are reflections.
reflection,
Yeah.
right? There's always something that I need to learn from that partner. So, did they choose wrong? Or is that just an area that they needed to grow in? And are they up for the challenge of growth?
Well,
Both parties.
yeah, I guess you could say that. And whoever it is you choose, which direction do you all want to move? you know, all right, I chose you. I'm a little bad. You a little bad. Let's be bad together. Oh, I don't know. Let's be bad for each other, but let's
Well,
move together in the path.
ultimately, right? You chose me and I chose you, right? And n- my our goal is not even my goal. Our goal is to have a long marriage, a long prosperous marriage, and a healthy one at that. And I know in order to have a healthy marriage, I got to be healthy myself. And then I
Mhm.
got to move in a healthy way, right? So I need to make sure that my mental is always on point. And then factors happen that question that, right? Or that really may attack where my mental may be, right? So pulling myself out of that for the betterment of us. Thank you for your patience through
You,
last year.
you're welcome. You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Going into this year because it flows over a little bit.
Yeah. Well,
We still coming out.
yeah, we still coming out of it, but I always try to look back at the patience that the Most High has with me, because I I'm not perfect.
You right. You
It
not.
who relax. But the patience that Most High has on any of us, so we that grace is owed.
Right.
Pay it forward type thing. And who better to pay it to than the other half of you?
Right. Right.
Because both of us together, what it say?
Right.
One can put so many to flight, but two can put maybe almost triple that.
Right.
But I think another part of that is expectations, and I think people go into these relationships with the most outrageous expectations, and to hear it even from the dating standpoint, hearing people talk, oh yeah, date, like they're not even in the marriage yet, they're trying to get there, but the expectations beforehand,
So give me some examples of some unrealistic expectations
I think,
that you've heard about.
oh, obviously, pay for everything on one end, the other end, he needs to pay for everything, or she needs to be able to, cook, clean, do this and this all at the same time. And it's like, where you get that from? Like, you're not robots. Everybody gets tired. That whole 50-50 conversation, when you're in a relationship, it's gonna sway a little bit, and you both have to be okay
It
with.
sways a lot of bit
Yeah, you have to
sometimes,
kind of
right?
pick up. Some days it's 60-40, some days it's 30-70, and some days it may even be 25-25. We can't even
Right.
get the
And
whole
we're not even
100.
talking about
Yeah,
finances
we talking
either.
about
We're just talking
everything.
about everything. Yeah.
Yeah, we talking about everything at that point, because both people are definitely going to get tired, sad. We've got our own battles to fight, and then try to come together and fight the world. So there is a lot of crazy expectations, and people kind of fall short of living in reality with this. Like, one expectation I would say that I had for you was to show up every day in the marriage, show up every day in your own life, and not tap out. So try to broaden it a little bit to at least create like a general guideline. I want to say, I didn't have the expectation that every day she's going to be intimate with me because she's got all the time in the world. And I'm talking about even at, we had Cal, and I'm like, yep, every day she's going to be able to cook a meal. I did not have those expectations at all. So I can, and
Well, I had expectations when we first got married,
mm,
and that the therapist helped us through those, though, where like I felt like I expected you to have it all figured out as far as the bills and finances go. So I remember it was a point where you would try to have conversations with me about finances, and I didn't want nothing to do with them. Like,
no.
you figure that out. That's your job. I'll do the dishes.
Yeah, and
I'll do,
I
I'll
mean,
do the household stuff.
obviously everybody has to work out their dynamics, but we
Right.
but we end up doing it. And I had we was like, it was a divided line in my head. Okay, I'm gonna do all these things. That's fine. You don't really need to help me. I got it. You do these things then. And then I think that's when
I said, wait a minute now.
yeah, I think that's when it was like, I think you had a different expectation, because when I would get done with work or come home, and you'd be like, "Yeah, are you gonna help me wash the dishes?" And I'd be like,
You know what?
"What?"
I think right. So you won't catch me complaining about those things anymore, like the dishes. It was a point where dishes, laundry, things like that, me wanting help around the house. More. I would complain oftentimes when we first got married about you being at work so much, not calling. I would get so irritated. So you don't catch those things, and that's just growth
Yeah,
in
you
me,
definitely
right?
you definitely
Where
grown along the way.
yeah, you won't catch me nagging about those. I very rarely nag about any kind of cleaning at this point. Um
And,
I
and you know what, real quick, it's not that I wouldn't clean. I want to make sure everybody understands that I would tidy up. I would do things. I've always been with the kids. There's never the co-parenting through this has never been an issue.
No, but I think that when you're home with children, as I was all the time, like a stay-at-home mom, and I really wasn't I was a stay-at-home mom, but I also took care of my grandmother too. So I took the kids with me. I came home. I was cooking. I was in charge of cleaning, and I'm not the tidiest person in the world, right?
Oh,
Or
I know.
learning how I need you to just stop. You don't have to
Oh, no,
echo
no. But
that.
when I say that, I just mean, like, I knew who you were
Right, but
beforehand.
let
So
me explain who I
yeah, yeah,
am.
yeah. Go ahead.
Um, the type I wasn't. It wasn't my cup of tea all the time, or I felt like when you do it so much, like dog, where just like when you go to work, you get a vacation. Where my vacation at?
Yeah, I remember
I,
you saying that
yeah,
to me.
I don't get a vacation.
Uh,
Where's my vacation from doing my jobs? And that was a conversation. You're like, well, when I come home, it don't stop for me. I don't just get to turn off fatherhood. And if the sink is broken, I don't get to not fix it. or whatever the case may be, right?
Yeah,
We
that took a little minute to I think, and I think it's easy to have some sense of comparison with your spouse, and it's like, you working, well, what are you doing? Because I'm doing this and I'm
right,
doing this, and
but that's the our worst enemy. I feel like that's where I went wrong when it was time. And I don't it sounds like I was the problem, huh? Look. um
listen,
that's I grew a lot. I just grew a
that
lot.
definitely shout out to growth and
um
development at this point.
but no, I mean, I think that everybody needs a break, and between the two of us, a better balance on that is needed. And that's just even to this day, right?
Yeah,
We don't
balance.
take enough breaks. We don't you have children, and man, I hear the divorce word a lot in couples our age.
Mm.
And I'm like, yo, these are the childbearing years. It's just a rough patch, and you just got to fight your way through it. The two of you, because childbearing years are dedicated to those children.
Realistically,
And your time with your spouse is limited. In addition to that, you're changing. So
your body's changing,
your body's
your mind's
changing, your
changing.
mind is changing, you have children that you have to put in the forefront of your mind now, which is a whole shift. um you don't have much time to date each other. All right, you guys plan a date and the kid gets sick, and now you can't go on a date,
Or you trying
or
to go out on a date, and your wife is trying to find something to wear, and she's like, I don't like
I
this.
don't like
I don't
anything
even
that
get
I
like getting
right.
dressed.
Ever since I had the baby, I didn't gain the weight. And it's hard. It's just a hard couple of years. So I almost hate to see relationships go sour, marriages go sour so early in, especially during those early childbearing years, because I
Right.
feel like that is a major part of it. And if you only saw like that part is a short period of time on a grand scheme of things.
There's light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah. And I mean, we just talked about how Kylan's about to go to kindergarten, and it's just Cara left that's home, so these times, they seem long while you're going through them.
But then life be going real
It
fast.
rolls.
It
Yeah.
go real
Yeah.
fast.
So just a constant reminder. And I think that's one thing that we did that was good. Like we would have, we didn't have much time together, but at night we'd have conversations about to remind each other that this is just the time
It's a
that we're
season.
in. And
Just a
this
season.
isn't what I want. I want to date you more.
Yeah,
Don't
that
think
took
that I
a
don't want to date
yeah,
you.
that took a minute of some rough conversation
Yeah.
back and forth between therapy at times, because we really over the years went to therapy a lot, and then it started trickling down where we didn't
Yeah.
go as much because it wasn't as needed like that. So we
Right.
were able to work it out between the two of us. But yeah, getting the understanding that, hey, I do want to date you too. Because I remember, if you don't want to date me, then fine. And then your expectation of dates was nothing. I don't even care. But you really still
Did I
did.
say it like that too?
I mean,
Nothing with the head.
a little bit with the head
I
like
don't
that.
do that.
I don't know,
Why
but
you gotta put me out there like that?
but that changed again,
Yeah.
to for the betterment, I would say. And that's why I say these expectations we all have, just as humans, we going into a relationship, and you have to watch for the transition of the relationship, because as you're going through it, you may have to adjust a little bit and say, you know what, we can't date like that. No one's gonna watch the kids. There's no one available to
Right.
watch the kids
And
anyway.
do we really want to send these three kids to a home where it's not suitable, right?
Yeah, we're
Or
piling it on to
piling
someone
it
at
on
the
to
wrong
somebody that
time.
already has two or three of their own, right? Or um wrong time. Everybody has lives going on, right?
Yeah. And that's
So
where people have to be more aware of their support system and piling your responsibilities onto others. And that's one thing that I was not trying to do at all. So,
we were at both adamant on that. Like, we didn't want our support to feel like we weren't grateful for their we didn't want them to feel like that we weren't grateful, but also like
that we
we
weren't
never
using
wanted
them.
to use
Yeah,
them,
overuse and abuse.
overuse. So usually if we asked for a babysitter, it was because we really needed one for maybe we had appointments going on, or
Yeah, something that like needed to happen that
yeah,
me and you couldn't figure out on our own.
right.
And with that,
So sometimes you get lost through these times, and then when you don't have the open communication about what's going on, where your head is at, where my head is at, I think that we can assume or begin to assume that little voice get in your head, um, that, oh, he don't want to date me,
yeah,
or
and I
she
think
don't
that's
even she's not attracted to me.
yeah, I
What'd
can
you
remember
say?
that.
Right, questioning if I was attracted while we were going through all of this stuff, and
Yeah,
I'm
and
like,
the
I'm
enemy.
attracted. Come on now. I can't believe, and then I feel bad about that. Like, golly, I don't want my husband to feel like I'm not attracted to him.
Yeah,
Um,
and you know what, the enemy gets in because ego, right? You say pride go before destruction, and
yeah.
that ego kicks in, and it can you can, and I'm thankful that it didn't happen to me like that, but it's easy to go, you know what, she don't want to appreciate all of this. It's fine, I know a bunch of other people that will. They tell me every day, and next
Who
you know,
telling you that?
I'm speaking in general.
No.
you
I
know
want to know who.
but you if you get that on you,
Yeah.
and then that spirit gets in you, then you kind of follow it along, and next you're doing something you ain't supposed to be doing.
Right.
And then you turn on your spouse and things like that. So I think the expectations we have in our egos, they start to compile.
But what saved us was the communication through it. So
Yeah,
you always said certain things to me, and I feel like I've said things like when we're going through stuff, I've said it to you. So it's been good. We've been good with
well, if anything we do
letting
is
each other
we
know.
gonna talk,
We
and we
gonna
gonna have
talk.
a talk, and somebody may be upset,
I'm gonna be upset. No,
or
no, I'm
somebody
not.
may be frustrated, one of
Yeah,
us or the other, there may
yeah.
even be some tears shed. And we're gonna have that uncomfortable conversation, and we're gonna have it again, because it don't happen once. You kind of gotta nail it in. And
Why do people think that they can say certain things one time and that's enough?
I don't know, because again, grace needs to be afforded,
Yeah.
and sometimes you just need to attack a problem from a different angle.
And I mean, talk about like habits, right? We're in our 30s. We've been doing things a certain way for so long. Sometimes it takes a minute to break that habit, right? So it may not even be our intent to hurt. My intent isn't to hurt you. I'm used to moving this way. I have to adjust to
You have to be flexible.
move another way. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and you know what, and that's why again, going back to the expectations, I never had the expectation that you would be one way through the entirety of our marriage. I
Well, I
expected us
did.
to kind of flow.
I did, and I remember questioning that. Like, why didn't anybody tell me you got to love your partner through all the changes that happen? I remember, again, and I say this so often, we don't have enough conversation about the realities of marriage and what to expect. Your partner changes so many times, and during this marriage, if you're on a journey with them, and it's growth, you should want to see this change. But when we get married, I just feel like we talk about this blissfulness of the wedding, the excitement of what's to come, and not the realities of learning how to live with someone, how to respect that person,
How to build
learn
that
to
foundation.
learn to admire that person.
Because it
And
ain't the foundation just gets laid and that's it. You have to
y-
continuously build.
build.
Every year we add in a new layer.
So thank you.
Well, thank you. Because
11 years of building and growing
and we still building. It's like little construction workers.
and admiring and loving.
There's a lot of loving.
Yes.
One way or the other, intimacy is not just sexual intimacy. Intimacy is conversations.
Yes.
Intimacy is that leaning on each other's shoulder, just having that support, like I'm here for you, you here for me. It's not you versus me. Again, this is me and you versus the world.
Yeah.
And really embracing
it and remembering that through it all. And then also making sure that you're talking to the right people.
Gotta have
keeping some wisdom in your ear and not foolishness, right?
I think that's so easy to have the foolishness in your ear. You have to be able to discern, put somebody, at least one person. You need somebody around that's objective,
right,
and can really help stay the course. Not help you lean too many different ways here,
right.
because the enemy's slick, man. It don't take much to lean one way or the other.
It doesn't.
It really doesn't. You have to have that.
Somebody got to stay grounded.
And then somebody got to be the bigger person.
You do a really good job at being grounded and throughout. So you're a good leader. Good job. Amazing.
Well, I have made some mistakes along the way. It wasn't always the crisp, clean leadership, but fail forward, fail fast, get back up, and keep moving again, and kind of take the experience with you on leadership. And a lot of men are struggling with that leadership along the way because they didn't have the guidance. They don't have the model, a job model, a blueprint of what that looks like in relationships or even in their own lives. So I think one thing that a husband would ask a wife is that grace to let me figure it out along the way, because I don't have all the answers. I do need to figure this out. But if you just be a little patient, maybe pray for me and just kind of help support me through the leadership, it's going to benefit you.
No, I do remember Renfro, my bonus dad, talking about that though with me, where I think we had just gotten married and you were learning how to do bills and made a mistake. And I went and I talked to him and he's like, what you expect him to just have it all figured out? He was like, give him some grace, let him learn and just be by his side while he's learning. So those gems, that were kind of put in my ears early in helped a lot.
I'm glad you listened, because then I ain't had to
stop.
Well, I'm just saying, I didn't have to. We didn't have to have too much tension along the way because you listen.
Right.
And I know we getting close down to the closing here. And what I will say for everyone watching, thank you again
for tuning in.
Coming to a Chill Kind of Love podcast. We do appreciate you. 11 years. Thank you for celebrating with us. Thank you for remaining, Mrs. Chilton. I appreciate that.
I appreciate you.
And you can catch us back. We'll let you know when we coming back, and we're gonna add a new little piece to it. Another segment. We'll let you all know what that's gonna be when we see you again. Hey, peace and blessings.
Do you think of me? Do you? Do you? Do you think of me? Do you think of me when you hear love breakup songs? Do you think of me